medical intervention that has been characteristic of developed nations. So Uganda being a developing nation, it is a milestone for us to get this kind of medical intervention into the country. We are lucky that at the moment we have the specialists and we have facilities that are ready to enroll on this program of the human organ donation and transplant. What has been missing is the legal framework to facilitate it. Thankfully, that has been done yesterday. We deliberated on it. I should say that we moved a narrow path. The path was so narrow in that this program, which should be a medical service, a life-saving service, could easily descend into a disadvantaged program that facilitates organ trafficking and all other activities that could actually destroy the society. So we introduced safeguards to prevent and safeguard the whole package, the whole program. Among the safeguards, and most important of all, is one that envisaged and truly analyzed the situation we are in, that we've never had such a program in a developing country that at least we relate with. Number one. Number two, we decided that for deceased organs, we should relax getting these organs for at least 5 years. And in that time, we shall have gathered knowledge on how to actually move along with this program. We shall have gathered knowledge on all the weak points that can easily be exploited, the weak provisions of this road that can actually be exploited. We are interested in starting with the live donations simply because it's easy to derive consent of a person who is living. The consent of a living person can be consulted. It can even be rescinded at the moment that person is getting into the theater. It can be recorded. So there's so many safeguards to ensure that this person has not been enticed into donating an organ or employed by financial gains into getting this organ, because we want it to be a service. We do not want it to be a business opportunity. So starting that way, in belief, we know that it is a good safeguard. Secondly, we are exempting categories of people. The children are exempted, are prohibited from this program, left for a few reservations, but for which reservations we've attached a line of or a series of processes of scrutiny which make it very uncomfortable and discouraging for whoever wants to get an organ from a child, which is also a safeguard. So largely children are prohibited from this program, largely. And those few exceptions undergo a very long scrutiny that discourages. Thirdly, we've also introduced another safeguard to adults, but these are young adults, above 18, but still under the custody of the parents. Parents are still taking care of their medical bills, education, and all other, necessities. So for this category, we are saying that much as the law, mandates them to take a decision on consent, on whether to donate or not, but given that it is still the parent taking care of their medical bills, and knowing that whoever donates an organ will need some special kind of medical care after donating the organ, we believe that the caretakers should be part of the consent, which is another safeguard. We've introduced safeguards by way of requiring government to be involved, most especially in making the decision whether somebody is brain dead or not. This program, most especially the organs from the deceased, are relying on a special kind of death. We are calling it brain dead. In this kind of death, it is the brain which is dead, but other organs are still alive and working. The heart is good and pumping, the lungs are good and breathing, the kidneys are working. So these kinds of patients are normally on life support in intensive care units. These are the brain dead patients. So somebody in an intensive care unit to decide that this person cannot be intervened medically and this person is destined for death, it is a very strong decision. And to eliminate bias, because these hospitals will also have a list of patients on the waiting list who could have money and are in need of these organs, and the person lying dead on the bed perhaps is having hardships. The caretakers are having hardship raising the money. So to eliminate the possibility of this patient being looked at as an imminent donor, it is at that point that we want government to be very available there by way of being eyes on as well. So we put a safeguard requiring government to approve all these decisions, but beyond approving, to supervise. So as the scientists that have been given that duty, the cardiologist, the neurosurgeon and neurologist, the anesthesiologist, there are four kind of super specialists who have to concur that this person is brain dead. But within those four, government should supervise. At the time of harvesting, government should supervise. Transplant, government should supervise. So these are all safeguards. But beyond all, we have the penalties. First and foremost, the punishment levied is not less than that one levied to a person who has killed another person, because we are talking of a life sentence. There isn't anything less than that. If it is a fine, we are talking of 10 billion Ugandan shillings. Of course, that can vary. The judge can vary it depending on the degree, but you can see that it is a very big fine. So now that this program is going to be rolled out in places that are accredited by the council and designated by the minister, we do believe that society will be doing a very good oversight, communicating with with the leaders, especially Parliament, and if there is any wrongdoing, then Parliament, being part of government, will very fast push for the legislative arm to come in, to swing in and punish these people. The punishment that will be met there is none other than a life sentence. So with all that effort, I want to believe that this program will be resourceful to this country rather than being detrimental. Now, for facilities, that is secondary. For us, we've put the standards in the law. So meaning that we do not want the current facilities to facilitate this program. We want facilities that will match the standards we've put in the law to be the facilities that will facilitate this program, which is good.
How important would the national insurance scheme in this?
Yeah, of course, when you look at the cost of a kidney transplant, in Turkey it is in excess of $80,000. In India it could be $50,000. But the baseline statement here is that these kind of medical interventions are very expensive. So a national insurance scheme that covers this kind of program will be good. In countries where this program is running, the developed countries, patients don't pay any money. It is taken care of by insurance. Here in Uganda, we are bringing it at a time when we do not have a national insurance scheme, so it will require people to pay money, and as such, it will be a discriminative program. It is for those who have the money. It is not for those who need the organ most, but whoever can pay for it, because the organ is free of charge, but the procedure to insert this organ is not free. The surgical procedure to remove the organ is not free. Your treatment after removing the organ is not free. Actually, when you get an organ, the immunity has to be suppressed so that your body doesn't fight that organ. So the drugs that induce immunosuppression don't go below 50 million. The drugs that maintain immunosuppression don't go below $10,000 per year. So this is an insight of how expensive this program is. And at a future date, when we start deliberating of a national insurance scheme, if at all it is to be introduced in a step-by-step process where medical packages are to be attached to it, this donation and transplant program as a medical package should be one of priority to be put under the national insurance scheme. Bana kambaleke, doza nawe.